Hi, love.
Hi, sweetie. How are ya?
Good. I got beautiful peaches from our backyard tree.
All right.
Very excited. I just blanched them and peeled them and cut them up. So, you peeled them already?
Hi, darling. You look so beautiful.
I got my hair done today.
Yes, that's what I
2 days ago.
2 days ago.
2 days ago. Yeah, your mom told me, and I love it. I love it. I think it looks great. And look at those nails. Oh my gosh.
We took a walk today down to the dollar store.
And got those nails. That's so great.
So cute. Okay, I'm going to clean off my cutting board because it is messy.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have a pastry cutter.
No, oh, I'll show you how to do it with 2 knives.
Okay. Flour.
Holding 2 knives in a very weird way.
Okay. And I do that in a big bowl?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
But I'll show you.
Is that a good size?
Yeah, it's actually too big.
Okay.
You know, it would be this size.
Okay.
You want enough room to work, but you don't want it like huge. It doesn't have to be huge.
Yeah, a medium bowl has salad in it.
Oh, well, then a big bowl will work.
Okay.
You peeled them. How did you peel them?
So I looked online and they said cut them in X's at the bottom, blanch them for 30 seconds, put them in ice water, and then they'll just peel right away.
Blanch, ice water. Often I don't even bother peeling them.
Yeah.
But I'm going to show people how to peel them.
Okay.
And then they can make that choice.
I looked it up. I was like, well, let's see how hard it is.
Oh, no, it's not hard at all. I'm going to peel a couple of them and then I'm going to just do the rest.
Yeah. So we have had a change of plans.
Uh-huh.
We're gonna go to Vegas and help Kimberly.
Oh.
She's all alone. She's completely incapacitated.
Why?
Oh,
Why?
I didn't tell you. She broke her ankle on the 4th of July.
What?
We weren't even drinking or anything. We were fooling around in the kitchen.
And she broke her ankle?
She broke her ankle in 2 places and dislocated it.
Shit, man.
She spun around and slipped on a thing of grease on the floor. Bam.
Well, when I broke my knee and sprained my ankle really well, I slipped on somebody else's beer
Oh, geez.
on a slick floor.
How many cups do you need?
That's it. I'm just starting with that. Okay. Yeah, so she's all by herself. So I talked to my mom. She agrees.
She agrees?
She agrees.
Did you guys get tested?
We did. We got tested yesterday. And no, that's not the second one.
Let me, I'm going to get some more butter. I'll be right back.
Okay, no problem. Cold butter. How much salt? Teaspoon.
Oh. Okay. Wash my hands.
All right. So when you say 2/3 to 3/4 cups of butter, like what's
Okay. I know that sounds like, but it's like 2 tablespoons difference.
okay?
It's not a big deal.
Mhm.
And if you're going to do, and it really depends on how your flour is packed and things like that.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You're going to be, I'm going to put 3/4 cup in
Mhm.
to
Okay.
2 1/4 cups of flour. But if you did 2 cups and 2/3 cup, that would be fine. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not a big deal. It looks great.
Okay, am I once again the only one cooking along with you?
No, I'm cooking.
So,
Are you cooking too? All right, me and Allison.
all right. So today I'm going to make pastry, and we're going to make a tart and a pie, 2-crust pie. The tart is for anybody who feels like, oh, the pie is going to be really hard for me. I don't know about crimping. I don't know how to do it. I'm going to show you how to do that. But first, we're going to make a tart. And blueberries and peaches. So we're doing blueberry, peach, all of it. So first thing, you turn on the oven to 425. And let's begin. First thing, you're making, you're going to cut the butter. Now, all right, the fat in this needs to be a solid fat. Butter makes it taste better. If you combine, Crisco is how I used to make it all of the time. You can actually get these Crisco things in chunks, you know, half cup chunks from, but I couldn't find them for a while, and I bought that. What you're going to do is cut up the butter into little chunks. That makes it easier to mix in. And that's all I'm doing is just chopping away. And regular flour. Two cups. Actually, I'm going to put 2 1/4 cups in. Um, 1 teaspoon or so of salt. This is kosher salt. And this is a pastry cutter. You do not have to use a pastry cutter. Pastry cutters are easy to use. They're much easier than I'm going to, but I'll show you a way to do it without a pastry cutter. I'm just mixing in the salt into this. And what you're doing with this butter, why you want it in little pieces, is because those pieces are going to get coated with flour. And when they cook, they will make it flaky. So make your pastry flaky. I've got a quarter of a cup. That was a half a cup of butter. I've got a quarter of a cup of Crisco. Again, you could use a quarter of a cup of butter. You know, what do you use in yours?
What's that?
What do you use in yours? Butter or Crisco?
I use butter. I just like the taste of butter better.
Yeah.
I like to use half and half.
Right. Yeah, I
Because you
use,
get flakier. It's flakier if you use half and half.
right. But
Yeah.
I like the taste of it. Now, before I had a pastry cutter, you can see how I'm holding these knives. They're apart. There's, you know, and all that I'm doing is cutting it into smaller and smaller pieces.
There's one other way you can do that, and that's with a stand mixer on the lowest speed. Put your flour, salt, and fat in that, and just let it run until it's really like cornmeal.
Right.
Or your
Right.
Cuisinart. You could use the Cuisinart too.
Yeah, but I often will use, I don't use my mixer and my Cuisinart because this comes together so quickly, I don't want to wash it.
Also, if you're not really on top of your Cuisinart,
Yeah,
if you over mix it, you're done. You've got rubber band crust.
right.
You can keep an eye on it if you're doing it by hand. That's why I like to do it by hand.
Yeah. So you can see already, I cut them up into really little pieces, but you can see it's already pretty much, you know, a recipe's called for it like the size of peas, like, right, okay, whatever. I don't eat peas often enough to really know. But if you shake it like that, the big pieces will come to the top and you can get them. And this is what it should look like. You see? Okay? So, what do you do next? Cold water. I threw ice cubes into this, and it's actually more than half a cup. You're not going to use it all. And you make a little, and you don't add it all at once. You put it like that, and then you do that. And then you put a little bit more, and you do that. Cool? And don't get an ice cube in there. And see, I'm getting there. And I'm not heavy duty mixing it. I'm kind of tossing it so that it will get as much, will absorb as much of the water without being wet. You don't want this wet. You're almost at the point now where you're going, but now you take your impeccably clean hands, and you go in. Again, you're not kneading the dough. You're kind of tossing it to see if it needs more water. And like this is very wet, so I'm going to put it where the flour is. And it's holding together. That's what you want. You want it to hold together and kind of clean the bowl up. Now, I didn't use all of the water. It'll all depend on how humid the day is, what you're going to do, all of that. There's going to be all kinds of things that are going to influence how well this comes together. There you go. It's all right.
Well, hang on. So I'm adding the water, but it's not going to be wet.
No. And you're adding it slowly and sort of flipping it, tossing it.
I just want it to stick together.
Correct.
Okay.
So I have a piece of plastic wrap. And I'm taking this, all of it, you know, including the stuff that's sort of not together yet, you know, a couple of those things. And I'm wrapping it in plastic wrap. And I'm putting it in the fridge while I make the filling for this. Cool, huh?
I put mine in 2 packages.
Yeah, you can. You can.
Only because the top is going to get soft while you're doing the bottom.
Yeah. It's whatever.
I know. I try all different ways.
So, I'm clearing the decks a little bit.
Okay, now we're doing
The
the
peaches.
peaches.
The peaches.
There we go. Thank you. I could only see your belly.
Anna?
Cute belly, but I'd rather see your pretty face.
Thank you. Now, peaches, they always say to peel the peaches. Peaches do not peel easily. They're a real pain in the ass. And for years, I didn't know this trick about boiling water and throwing them into the cold water, but boiling water, toss them in for 30 seconds. Oh, actually, you should probably cut them, but I didn't.
I did an X on the end.
Right, and that makes it much easier to do. But, you know, whatever. But another thing you can do is just keep the peels on. I don't really notice the difference. It's more swelling and elegant if you do it with, but you can see I'm just, and the peels do tend to be kind of a pain in the neck, but they're just fine, really.
It makes a really pretty tart when you leave the peel on.
Right. You get.
Did you say 30 seconds, Kate, in the boiling water?
Yeah, 30 seconds or so. And then you put it right away.
In really cold water.
Right.
I have ice water here,
Yeah, ice water.
which
I think Carol taught us that trick
Did I?
years ago, didn't you?
I don't know. My mother taught it to me, I know.
Yeah, your mother taught it to you and you taught it to us.
how easy it is to peel.
Yeah, perfect. Same with tomatoes.
Yeah.
When you're making tomato sauce.
Uh-huh.
But it's an easy way to do it. Oh, I'm putting them in with the real. Sometimes I scare myself. What can I tell you? So anyway, you're going to, now, Carrie, you already have peeled yours, right?
Yeah, we have a beautiful peach tree in the back, and I foraged, and so I cut a little X on the bottom, blanched them for 30 seconds, put them in ice water, and they just peeled right off.
Pull it right off.
Yeah.
And you can see it's pretty easy to do. I probably would have been a better hostess if I had done this ahead of time, right? Been good. But I didn't. So,
Well, then we wouldn't know the handy dandy trick.
well, yeah. I could tell you about it.
Yeah, but it's
That's
more fun to look at it.
And it's really, you know, this is an easy way of peeling. I wish apples would peel this.
Well, I was just thinking that I'm going to make Stuart an apple pie, and I was thinking to myself, God, wouldn't it be great if apples could be done this way?
Now, I have one of those.
Alas, it can't.
I have one of those apple
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
too.
slicer things, and I adore it. I really love it.
But again, if you don't want to have to wash up all this stuff, it would be nice to be able to do that. I have a gnat that I'm pursuing, if anybody wonders why I'm slapping my hands.
Bugger? Did you get it?
No, it's just keeps going across my screen like, don't, because I've been writing, I'm going to annoy you. It's just like, come on.
Susan, every time you slap, I think you're calling Stuart.
No, he's at the park today. He's not learning to make crust. I told him he should learn to make crust.
Yeah.
He's a good musician. What can I say?
And he's a wonderful shopper.
There you go.
Well, I think you should be able to smack him around. I'm not disputing that.
No. It's this little bugger is a real, and he's fast.
Horrible creature. Horrible.
I know, really, huh? I'm trapped in this apartment. You think I could get by without a gnat? I mean, please.
Just consider it wildlife.
Yeah.
Your own little zoo.
It's like being in the backyard with Marianne. Golly.
Every once in a while, there's a big black cat that just decides she wants to live with me, and she acts like she's my cat, and she'll come up and like rub against me and stuff. And she pops in and out sometimes, but she's not my cat. And
But
if
she
you try-
doesn't.
she's just a neighborhood cat. If you try to get too close to her and she doesn't like it, she'll hiss at you and like arch her back. And she's a black cat. She's terrifying. So I tell everybody that she's my familiar because I'm a witch. I like it. It's cool. She's really pretty though. She's like a
You
black.
probably have better treats than other people.
Yeah. Well, I have a lemon tree, and I used to have a tangerine tree, and I used to have persimmons. So the persimmon tree got cut down. My husband,
Oh.
but it wasn't the good persimmon. It was the big sort of torpedo-shaped ones that are not as sweet. The ones that are flatter are much more delicious. This one is. You can only eat so much persimmon bread and persimmon cookie.
And persimmon cake and persimmon pudding. Yeah.
And persimmon this and persimmon that. Okay, so I have
Peaches, blueberries.
blueberries, and I never measure blueberries. I just throw them in
Because it just doesn't matter.
because it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
There you go. And I'm going to do some, maybe 3/4 of a cup of sugar. That if that, half a cup. It all depends on how much you want in, how sweet you want it. And then about a quarter cup of flour, which is going to be your, it's going to thicken it up because there's going to be a ton of juice in this. And cinnamon. I like cinnamon in it. If you don't, you leave it out.
Have you ever put nutmeg in them?
Oh, yes. Yes.
I love nutmeg and peaches.
Mm-hmm.
Fresh nutmeg and peaches. Oh, so good. And cinnamon.
Well,
I mean, but what in life is not better with nutmeg and cinnamon,
I use nutmeg.
Cocaine,
right?
cocaine is not better.
Oh, there's that. So I'm putting a little bit of nutmeg in for the hello. Oh.
Up.
Okay. And even though I didn't put it in the recipe, I'm going to put a little bit of lemon zest. Not a whole lot, just it gives it a nice flavor. Again,
What is not good without, I mean, everything's better with lemon.
right. Almost everything. And somewhere is a spoon. And you're mixing this. Now this will be enough for this pie, but what I'm going to do first, before I do the pie, I'm going to do a tart, because tarts are nice for people who don't necessarily think they can roll out a good circle. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So I'm gonna get my hands washed because they're covered with sugar. And I made a half recipe here. This is about 1.5 cups of flour, a stick of butter. It's just a regular recipe. And it's been living in the fridge until I took it out right before I started this. Now, the stuff we just made is still in the fridge, and we're gonna get it out in a few minutes. But I'm just gonna roll this out, and I'll show you how easy it is to make freeform tart. And you don't have to be exact with this. You don't have to worry about it being in a circle. You can make this a lot of different ways. You can put it in a rectangle. I can roll it out into a circle, but I'm just rolling it out much more freeform than I ordinarily would, until it's about as thick as you would ordinarily do it. But it's in a big circle. Actually, I think it needs to be, there we go. All right. So you can see that it's not in any way, shape, or form perfect. It's not perfect at all. So, stay. We're going to pick it up. Roll it out onto a baking sheet. And then we're going to pile in some fruit right in the middle of it. And this does not have to be, I mean, this is a rustic thing. Hello. It does not have to be anything, you know, it's pretty much a single layer. And if you don't have a lot of fruit, tarts are a perfect way to use them. So, and here's how you finish it. Ta-da! Isn't that cute?
It's precious.
That's precious. And
Some of it not covered in the middle, is that?
Yeah.
Like
you
you don't
leave it
eat it.
open.
Okay.
You leave it open in the middle. You're
Cool.
not covering the whole thing. That you don't have to cut anything into it or anything like that. And then I'm going to put some water on it because without water, you're not going to be able to have the sugar that you're putting on top stick. And sometimes for tarts, I like throwing on some walnuts or some sliced almonds. Should I ever be able to get this open? On the other hand, maybe not.
Watch your fingers, Kate.
I know. So you put it over the top a little bit and it will and be yummy. And then you stick it in your 475 or 425 degree oven. And I'm gonna do it for, what happened to my, oh well, for 10 minutes. And it is just 10 minutes and then I'm gonna turn it down. In the meantime, this isn't enough, so I'm gonna cut up another peach in here. But you can make those tarts with apples. I like it with apples and cranberries, dried cranberries. At Christmas time, I just use regular cranberries, you know, fresh cranberries. You can do it with dried, you know, dried grapes, you know, raisins or currants or mincemeat. Tarts are really good. You can also do tarts that are savory tarts. That's kind of interesting too.
And what would you do that? How would you do those? What would you fill them with?
A savory tart?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Sliced potatoes, onions, green onions, zucchini, sort of like it would be your pizza, your basic pizza thing. You can put tomatoes in it.
Okay.
Tomatoes are yummy. Have you ever made it to savory tart, Dina?
No, I haven't. I've
I
never
thought
have.
it sounded good. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Yeah, they're pretty good. You know, I'm just
You have to be sure to squeeze your tomatoes
yeah,
because tomatoes are full of water.
Yeah. So I think this is enough for my pie.
Yeah.
I add another peach to it. And it's, oh, duh. It was right there.
I see Luna.
Yeah. Sometimes I scare myself. What can I tell you? Okay, so I'm going to clear the decks a little bit, and then I'm going to show you how to roll out the 2 crust pie. And I know half of you have already done a two-crust pie.
Uh-oh,
What?
there you are.
Aw,
I lost you for a minute.
who's your puppy, Pam?
Oh, that's Bailey. He was looking needy over there.
Oh, he's cute.
Look at Luna down there.
Look, where's Luna?
She's in the corner.
That's
Yeah, we've had some of the most beautiful dogs over the years, you know, some really pretty ones. And then all of a sudden we get him and we go, "He's not pretty, but he's cute and he makes us smile. He's a crack up." Yeah,
there you go.
yeah, he's,
They have to earn their keep somehow.
of course, of course.
And my dogs, it's a really good thing that they're cute because they are super dumb.
Because they sure aren't earning it.
Those are not bright dogs.
The crust that we just made.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay. It's okay.
Joan, when do you think we're going to go back to the pool to swim again?
I don't know. I want to go. It's starting on the 13th.
Is it really?
Yeah, but you have to reserve a day ahead of time.
To go swim? Wow.
Yeah,
Reserve a
and
day.
it's limited to 1 hour.
Yeah. And you can't get in to the dressing rooms.
Right.
They're not open.
You go in and out and that's it? Okay, well, that's good to know. That actually makes me feel safer.
Okay. So I've got 2 pieces. I'm going to make one a little bigger than the other one. This is for the top, and this one is for the bottom. It probably would be better if it were in the fridge a little longer, but screw it. It doesn't matter.
The theme of our cooking show.
I mean, if it did matter, I'd tell you. You know, I really would. If something really was essential, I'd tell you. But you can see this is actually rolling out easier than the other one, which is really much colder.
You want to hear a fun thing?
Okay.
You know, with flour, I was watching last night because I was just tired of murder. I was watching the Great British Baking Show. So, and I love watching those. It happened to be breads because I was watching the end of that. Anyway, one of the guys, and it's the only time I've ever seen anybody do this. There's a little gadget that looks like a tiny, just this big, feather duster.
Yeah?
It's a tiny little feather duster. And it dusts off the flour when you're making a tart or a loaf of bread or whatever it is. So that he just took, he took his, like when he was finished rolling it out or whatever it was with the bread, then he just took his little duster and dusted off the excess flour.
I love it.
Isn't that cool?
That is cool.
So maybe I'll see if I can find some for all of us.
Now you can see, that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
That would be wonderful. You can see that it's about, and it's still rough, but it's about, this much on either side because it's got to go, it's going to fit in. And you don't want it all stretched out, but there you have it.
Why would you do that?
I don't cut this off yet. I don't cut I know that you're supposed to and all of that, but I don't do it yet. I wait. And then fill it up.
Look at her. She is so hoping you drop something.
I know.
Her little tongue is, I mean, if she got any closer to you,
I know.
she's a scream.
And one thing I forgot to do on the tart, which I'm not going to forget to do on the pie, because again, it doesn't really matter. I've done it in the past many times where I've forgotten this last step, and that is to take some butter and dot it across the pie. It makes it just yummy. And you're not measuring this, of course. You're just dotting it across the pie. And it will melt down in and mix up with the juices, and it tastes mighty fine.
I've been known to take the top crust back off of a pie to do that.
I know, I did it once, but then you know what? I'm cooking usually for boys. At least I was cooking for boys, and they don't know.
Yeah, but you know. Or as Jacques Pepin says, there's never enough butter.
Oh, that is true. So here you have. I'm actually using a lot more flour than I ordinarily would because this is too soft, but oh well. No one will know. No one will know. And
We
so
won't tell.
you're not going to tell.
No.
And I'll lie. I'll just lie. Okay. Now I'm going to turn the oven. Now that was 10 minutes. I'm going to turn it down to 375. It's only 50 degrees cooler. And you have, and then I'm just leaving it there for another 15 minutes.
Okay, your recipe says 350 for 20 to 25.
Yeah, I know.
It doesn't matter?
It
No.
doesn't matter.
What you're going to do is at the end of whatever it is, you're going to take a look at it. And if
Okay,
it needs it, you're going to add time to it.
okay,
Does that make sense?
Yep. it
Yeah.
does.
So, rolling it out. This does not have to hang over as much. Have any of you made, I know you have, Dina, where you have leftover pie and you roll it out and you put butter and cinnamon sugar on it,
Mhm.
bake it? So anything
Yum.
anything
Pam's and my mother's used to do that anytime we had pies. Remember that, Pam?
I do remember that. Yep, that's what I was thinking. First I thought it was my grandmother, but I think it was our moms. I think
It was our moms.
Yep. We'd all fight over the scraps.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
And they were so good.
And sometimes I make it with cheese.
Oh.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And then it's savory, and you eat it with a glass of wine. Not bad.
Oh, yum.
Oh, that sounds like a really good idea.
I
To
just like
put
crack.
cheese. You just sprinkle the cheese on it
Yeah, Parmesan
and bake it.
and bake it.
Oh,
You
that
put
sounds
butter.
really good.
Put butter on it so that it'll stick.
Uh-huh.
All right, so you have the bottom crust. I just broke this. I didn't cut it. I just broke it off. And I'm going to make my design in it, which I always do. Same design, always. And then put it on top. And I put the edges under, like this, and scrunch it together. And then you can use a fork for around here. I don't usually do that. I'll show you what I usually do, because it looks pretty and I like it. And I do it very fast, so, because I've made, how many pies do you think we've made in our lives, Dina?
God,
Thousands.
thousands.
When I was growing up, I made
A
cherry
little
pie.
bit more. A little bit more. With
Little
the
bit,
screen.
well, I made
There. Okay.
cherry pies.
Yeah.
I was determined to get the definitive cherry pie. And I think I made cherry pies one summer,
Every week.
twice a week.
Oh,
It was horrifying, actually. But I did learn how to do crust. I'll show you how I crimp it. Just doing that.
Uh-huh.
okay.
And when you've made thousands of pies, you do it really fast. What can I tell you? And people go, ooh, ah, oh, doesn't that look great?
It's beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful. And then water.
You don't put an egg wash on yours?
No. For one thing, it's really annoying when you waste an entire egg for 2 tablespoons. So I don't do that. And then I kind of just like a water sugar glaze on it. I think that looks kind of cool.
That's very pretty too. It looks really good.
Now, it is essential that you put this onto a cookie sheet when you
Yeah.
put it in the oven. You have to put it on a cookie sheet, because if you don't, it will go all over the oven and the smoke alarm will go off and
it
bad things
stinks.
will happen. Ask me how I know.
And it smells to high heaven.
Oh yeah, it's all burnt up and horrible and all of that. Now I have a story to tell you about when I lived in England and I was a new bride and I used British flour. And I was making chocolate chip cookies. Now, I knew chocolate chip cookies. I knew how to make them. I knew everything about them. I got chocolate chips from the commissary. They were American chocolate chips, but I used British ingredients. And I dropped the cookies, and it turned into the biggest mess in the oven ever. That's how I discovered that British flour doesn't translate into American flour.
Are
It-
we putting this in, Kate? Sorry.
What, Carrie?
Did I put this in?
Yes,
How long?
minutes.
30?
15 at 425. If you're doing a tart, it's about 10 to 15 minutes. But if you're doing a pie, it's about 15 minutes. Anyway, or 10 minutes, sorry. Anyway, I really had to, you can't it doesn't translate for cookies. It translates for cakes. You can bake pastry with it, but it's a soft flour or it's not as high gluten or something. And so the British recipes don't automatically translate into American recipes and vice versa. So
It's more like cake flour.
yeah, but even with cake
Softer.
flour, yeah, it doesn't, those cookies look like lace cookies. It was all one, I had them in little things and you're supposed to melt. They melted the entire tray. It was all covered with this stuff. I didn't know whether I should add more or whatever. So, let's see, what else can I tell? That's your basic pie recipe for most soft fruits. You can make peach, plum, apricot,
Cherry.
cherry. Well, cherry, I tend to make it with more thickener in it. It gets to be very gooey and spready.
You have to put cornstarch with it.
In it. Yeah, I toss it with cornstarch.
Okay.
But you could toss this with cornstarch too.
Oh, you don't cook it? I see. I cook the cherries with the cornstarch and the sugar and lemon juice first.
Right.
But not till they're cooked, just till it's thick.
Yeah. And so
there's nothing worse than having a cherry pie run all over your stove.
Oh.
All over your oven.
All over
you never get that smell out. The smell is just
right.
There you are.
Yeah, and I'm going to sit down now. So there we have it. That is my basic dough for tarts. Because there's no sugar in it, I use it for chicken pot pie.
Mm-hmm.
You can blind bake it, and I use it for cream pies. It's just a really good. It's a good, and if you make it enough, it's very quick. It's just like. It's the base for lemon meringue pie. Our dad's favorite, right?
Yeah. He always wanted lemon meringue pie.
I love lemon meringue pie.
Yeah, my dad.
As a matter of fact, there's Grammy's pie, and that's what I'm making for me. He wants an apple pie, and I'm going to have a small lemon meringue pie.
Well, lemon meringue pie, one of the things that I like about pie, that, an apple pie, you make it, you clean up, it's over. You cook. Lemon meringue pie, you make the crust, you roll it out, you make the filling, you put it in, you make the meringue. It's like a multiple step thing.
But oh my God, it's good.
Oh.
It's so yummy.
So there you have it. And I'm still waiting. I thought the tart would go faster, but I figured, we got it within an hour, though that pie is going in and it'll be at least 45 minutes before it's done.
So for 15 minutes, it cooks at 425, and then I bring it down to what?
375. I would go for 25 minutes, check it, and see if it's bubbling and brown. And then, and if it's not, just leave them in there for a little while. That's all. Cindy, I haven't talked to you. How are you?
She's muted.
You're muted.
I was muted. Okay, so I'm
So
doing well
Bonnie,
up here.
there you are.
Yeah, and that was a great lesson. It calls to mind a friend of mine who died a couple of years ago, and it was such a loss. But she was so good at baking pies, and was famous for her apple pies and doing the crusts. So this was lovely, and I like especially the freeform tart.
Yeah.
I'm going to play with that, and also with the savory component too.
Yeah.
So here are two questions. First of all, we freeze peaches here in the summertime, and do frozen peaches work?
Yep.
Okay, I mean, so.
The answer
right?
is yes.
Yes.
Yes. But just, just do it exactly the same way. Now, I'm
Right.
assuming you're freezing them like in slices.
Right. Yeah.
Sliced. I have actually taken a pie pan, lined it with a baggie,
Oh.
thrown in all of the filling completely,
Right.
and then sealed up the baggie and thrown it in the fridge.
Oh my gosh.
And then you don't have to worry about it. You can just plop it in, and you know that you've got it exactly the right amount.
What a great idea. What a great idea. The other thing we do is we dry tomatoes. We've got a lot of tomatoes during the summertime. And so we dry those. And I'm wondering, I mean, I think that would be great for a savory, right?
Right.
For a savory tart.
You know, almost anything that you put onto a pizza.
Yeah, that's what I wrote.
Can go onto this. So you can put pepperoni, you can put tomatoes, you can put
zucchini. We've got abundance. We can't give them away.
Whatever you've got. I probably, if it's a watery vegetable like say zucchini
or mushrooms,
probably or mushrooms,
right.
I would probably saute them and then put them in and not have them cook. But this is like a freeform tart pizza, which is something that I need to do for a dinner party.
That sounds really good.
Yeah. That sounds great.
Herbs on it, artichoke hearts, all of that. So
you put cheese in it?
What?
Would you add cheese?
Kind? You can or not.
I mean, I don't know. Would it make it too?
No.
Too runny?
The thing about it is that if it's too runny, you say, "Oh, this is too runny. Next time I'll do it different."
Right. Okay.
You know, it's not like something that you have to look at forever and say that. Yeah.
Well, it reminds me of empanadas. And,
right.
Yeah. So anything you'd put in empanadas or Indian kinds of foods, you know, where you have
I've never done that, but that sounds really good.
Doesn't that sound good? Yeah.
You guys, you have to let me know what you do with these recipes. Allison, how did it work? Was it okay?
Yeah, it worked fine. It's in there. Mine was a little bit crumbly. I don't think that I think I needed to add a little more water.
Okay.
You know, I mean,
you'll know for next time.
Yeah.
Mine was the same way, Allison, and it was at the same time crumbly and a little sticky, which was weird.
Yeah, that kind of evens out when you leave it in the fridge for half an hour. You know, or even 45 minutes. Oh, by the way, you can also freeze the uncooked dough. You can freeze it and then just take it out.
Okay.
It'll work fine. I think in that case, I'd probably do it in 2 discs so that you'd have more freedom. You can say, oh, well, I want to make a freeform tart today. rather than a whole pie or something. So. And I think
How are you?
I'm going to check to see how this looks.
I'll bet it smells really good.
Smells delicious. No, it is not. It is not brown enough. Not brown enough. So it's going to stay in there. It's going to stay in there for a little while longer. When it gets nice and brown, you don't have to worry about the filling being done with the tart. You just, you look at what you've got and go, oh, that looks done. And it will be.